And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bull Rush. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty well. Probably
right.
should have eaten something before beer, but you know what? It's beer time.
Exactly. I am joined again this week after our lovely Thanksgiving break with Mr. Noirbot on my left, Mr. Wolfman here on my right. We've got some big news to talk about today on our 10th episode of Bull Rush ever.
I can't believe we made it this long, and I've been here for at least half of them.
Yeah, right? At least.
At least half.
We've had some awesome guests along the way, Azaraki at one point, Sam and Doug at another point. We're looking to have some more awesome guests later on. But today we've got a pretty interesting topic, a very, I would say a little bit of a sad topic, but a topic that I feel definitely needs to happen, especially with a lot of the chatter that's been going on within the community recently, in regards to the quote-unquote future of Gigantic. Just this week, in fact, actually just yesterday, we had the interesting news come out from Motiga that about 16 people were laid off from Motiga due to the fact that they had to extend the perceived launch date or development time specifically to about sometime in 2016. They didn't say when 2016, but we're assuming at some point either halfway through the year or later.
Yeah,
Just from the scope of the amount of people that have been laid off.
Well, I mean, I don't even necessarily think that's from the scope of the layoffs. I mean, I think the surprising part of this was that people were getting laid off, not that the game was being delayed. Like, I don't think it really became as a surprise to anyone that we're looking at a 2016 release date.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we're almost to the end of 2015 anyway.
Yeah, we haven't had a concrete release date since essentially PAX East was the last time anyone at Motiga commented on the release date, and that was when they were still saying it was coming out with Windows 10, which was like 4 months ago.
Yeah, right.
So we already slipped the last official release date we've heard, and at this point it's 2016, and given that we just went through a month of no gameplay, systems are down, we're still not back up to the level we were when they last tried to announce a release date. I don't think we're gonna see this. My bet is on PAX Prime next year, late August, July, August next year.
PAX Prime next year might be a possible time when that's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave open PAX East in my opinion, just because it's a possibility, a very small one, but a possibility that they'll release at PAX East, just because PAX East was put into April this year rather than its traditional March. Is my thing. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but the 1 month difference might make just enough to get a solid amount of systems in place. But that's those systems that we're going to be looking for right now. We know what those systems are, and it's the same systems we've been saying, we want for a while. Party systems. We want to have a chat system, a friends list system. These sorts of systems that should be in place for a multiplayer PvP game. In addition to that, obviously, any free-to-play game is going to need a solid store system, things to buy, skins to buy, and a progression system to keep people wanting to continue to play beyond simply just the merits of how awesome the game is.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to put in place right now, and unfortunately, because of the partnership, it did have to be delayed. We
don't even entirely know that it's just because of the partnership.
Well, yeah, but I mean that we do know that that's a part of it.
No, we can definitively say the reason all of that slipped was because of the partnership. Because if you think back to PAX East, all of that was in the game at PAX East.
Yeah, it was a little broken, but it was there.
We didn't have progression in store, but of those features that are technically difficult to work out, progression systems in the store are the ones that the systems themselves have to be tuned, and how fast you gain levels, how much things cost, that stuff that has to be tested. But actually putting in a store is relatively simple compared to having a working matchmaking party system.
Yeah.
But we had those in March this year, and it looks like we're not going to get them back in the game until March of next year.
It's entirely possible. We don't know.
I mean, they're not in now, and we haven't seen signs that they're. I mean, we have matchmaking, in a slightly better place, but there's not even a hint of seeing party or chat come back into the game at this point.
It's a fair point. I mean, but at the same time, that maybe because, maybe Motiga's ready for it, maybe they're all ready for it, maybe all their systems are in place, and maybe we are waiting for, Microsoft to say, okay, here you go, boom. And it could come
that
out
doesn't make it
next
better.
week, if that was the case.
That doesn't make it better. That doesn't mean it's any less of a, Microsoft sandbag the timeline.
That doesn't make any less of that. And it's entirely possible that is the case. That Microsoft did sandbag the timeline, that it's taking longer for it to happen, but going back to the conversation that was had with us, at the very least, the coaches at PAX East, it was a kind of a closed doors sort of a situation, but it wasn't information that doesn't need to go out to the people. It was saying that, the funding that they had gained from going with the Microsoft deal freed up some time, at the very least from Chris Chung, to focus on other things, and allowed them to continue production well onto their original release date, and even be able to go to places like E3 was 100% because of the Microsoft deal. That was at Xbox One booth. They also had expanded showings at all the other areas. They had Xbox, consoles to play at the different booths, at Gamescom and PAX Prime. Those things wouldn't have happened. So it did allow them to build that kind of community at these different locations around the world at these large events with a significant showing.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're gonna attribute like all of their press appearances since then to like the fact that they got they were able to lock up this money, I mean, like I think PAX Prime we could take for granted that was going to happen, but
Probably,
I mean, we got
because that was their
Lisbon,
first showing.
Yeah, but we had we had like Paris Game Show, we did Milan Game Week, like we had a decent run of festivals. My worry, though, is if you look at, and, obviously when Motika posted that they had let people go, they didn't post a list because, that's a little tacky. But, based on what we've seen from Twitter, the people that we know got let go are Ali, Mo Huggles, Thor, Forrest, and Genie. Yeah, Mo Lavender. So, community manager, publisher, and streamer god.
Streamer god.
But
I like that.
I don't know. My worry is it seems like we got, what we got over the summer was a lot of new community. We got a lot of hype built out from all, going to Gamescom, pretty major investment in EU, and, just starting up streaming and doing all this stuff. And now it seems like we've let go a lot of the people that were responsible for that. Like, Thor's gone, so we're losing some of the, who's potentially someone else is going to take over streaming. Like there are definitely people at Motika that are competent to do that.
Yeah.
But we're losing the instigator behind that. And Ali, of all of the people in community, was the one that went to every event. Like Ali did Lisbon, Ali did Milan, or not Lisbon, Paris and Milan, Gamescom. Like she's been at literally every public event I can think of. And so in many ways, like we lost the public face of Motika to some extent here. And to me, that signals that they're going. Going dark makes it sound bad, but like it looks like we're in a like things are going to slow down and we're going to focus on getting the game fixed before we make another push into big public spectacle again.
Which, I mean, speaking personally, I'm fine with. I'm fine with us getting off this main stage. I'm fine with us going ahead and focusing on development because it needs to happen. There's so many people within the community that, are doing things like comparing it to Overwatch, assuming that we're on this big stage, assuming that we are, talking, because we have been, a lot of press has been going on recently. We've got a lot of information that was coming out from Motika for a while because of Thor and whatnot, and that large presence kind of made people expect have higher expectations of what's been going on at Motika than have realistically been happening. So I'm fine with if we step off that stage for a little bit, go into a little bit of a stasis, and hash out these problems. It's the same with like a musician, Yeah, you could be going to a gig after gig after gig, but if your music sucks, then why are you going to gigs? If you keep on getting only the same 4 people that want to stick around, then you're not going to want to be out there. Stop doing gigs, hash out your problems, and come back strong with a big one.
Yeah,
and
it's just really sad. It's just really sad to see some of the people go. The people that Perry's right. That we've liked a lot and that have actually shown up to these events. Like
the big
Jeannie
names.
Jeannie was the whole reason that PAX East last year in Boston even happened. She was responsible for the maintenance of the floor. And
pretty much
organization of everything. She was an amazing person.
Didn't she do roughly the same thing at PAX Prime as well?
Yeah. I mean, Genie is one of the people that you don't necessarily know I would imagine most of the community is not familiar with her, but to anyone that's been to any of the PAX events and presumably to the overseas ones,
Gamescom.
I don't know if she went for Gamescom, but I mean, she essentially runs those. Like between her and Troy, like they run those events, and like honestly, like she was the most surprising one. Like I can understand, like no offense at all to like Thor Riley, but like I can understand, like if you got to cut costs because really they're laying people off because like they aren't making money, and like if your original business plan was we're releasing in August, and all of a sudden you're not talking about releasing in August, you're talking about releasing in March, April at the earliest. Yeah, you have to start, you have to cut some peripheral costs, and but like I don't know, I'm. To me, that says like we're not probably going to see them at PAX South.
Yeah, no, that is probably a foregone conclusion. We're not going to see them at PAX South. It's possible we won't see them at PAX East just because of how much money that costs to go to. PAX East is actually one of the more expensive PAXs. Like, PAX Prime, I think, is similar because it's Prime, but East is, Boston's an expensive city.
Yeah,
and they don't have to. They don't have to fly people to Prime. Like that's like the short version is Prime is cheap for them because everyone can just drive over.
They didn't have to fly people there at all. Like that's the truth about it. They didn't have to bring us along.
That's another thing.
I just mean the studio. Like I think they're going to keep doing Prime every year, at least until the game launches. Just because like why not? You're already there,
right? Like,
but I don't think we're seeing South because I feel like we would have heard something about it because like we're 2 months out from PAX South. I think we might have heard something by now, or at least rumors of it.
In fact, actually, we're almost 1 month out, and last year, in November, is when they said they were going to be at South. That's when that happened. I remember, me and Brandon had literally just joined, into the community, and that same week that happened, they said, we're going to be at PAX South, we're going to do a tournament, and Wolfie, messaged me immediately and said, we're going.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. It wasn't even a question. It was just like he was like, "You better have some money because we're fucking going to fucking San Antonio."
Right.
But yeah, so, I think we're not seeing that. I don't think we're going to see PAX East this year. My own personal living in Austin heart, we're probably not seeing them at DreamHack either, which makes me sad. But
we didn't
if anyone else is coming
last year, so.
DreamHack didn't exist last year. The US. This is the first year in the US. But yeah. By the way, if anyone's in the audience is coming to DreamHack, let me know. I live 20 minutes from there.
Hey, dude, if you come and kidnap me, I'll go. I'll totally go.
That's a little rude.
Road trip out here, road trip back. Oh man,
but it's right. You're correct that a lot of these
people that had been these names, these people that would have set up all these things, they're gone. These public faces, these organizations, but. Looking at those people that are there, I would say Genie, personally, because of all of this, because we're not getting a South trip, because we're probably not getting an East trip, because we're only going to be doing Prime, is probably one of the more expendable positions because of that. Like, if you're not going to go to events, why have an event manager?
Well, the trick, though, is those events are planned months and months in advance.
Yeah.
Like, the reason that is a signal to me is that it means... You could pretty much say, we're not doing any other events for the next, 4 months. Probably. Or it's going to get shuffled to someone else. Obviously, we're talking about a company where, people are freaking out about the, 16 people, there's a lot of people. Really, Motiga, I think, I don't have firm numbers, but, max is maybe 150 people. So this is maybe 10% layoff, which is not enormous.
It's not that huge. And, even if you look at, like we've been saying, you look at the people that have been laid off, it's... a large group of a publishing quote-unquote team. People who are going
3 out of
helping,
16.
3 out of 16, yeah, we don't know how much else, but from what we're seeing, none of the core development team from we know of are gone. Neomix is still there.
And we absolutely should, I think, some people are getting freaked out about this, oh god, the game's going to go into a death spiral now. I think, honestly, and as sad as it is, the fact that we lost community people is a good sign because it means that they are focusing their resources in keeping developers.
Yeah.
If we started seeing developers getting fired, that would be worrying because
that's a problem.
Because that's when we don't have Strife happening again. Because that's exactly what happened with Strife. Was there were some kind of rumblings within the Reddit that hey, aren't people getting laid off? And then a dev came out and said, yeah, no, these people were laid off on Reddit. It didn't even come from the development studio. It came from one random dev. And then all of a sudden, more more and more and more people were dumped. And honestly, I feel like that's one of the big concerns from the community right now, is that that's going to start happening. And there is absolutely no basis for
Well,
that to
I mean,
happen.
to be fair, like, we're talking, like, we've confirmed, like, 4 people that we know have left the company.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, that's still,
There's-
like,
there's still a few people
and, like,
out
but,
there.
like, maximum, you're losing, like, 10 developers, which would be a lot. Like, I think it's one of those, we don't know who these people are. We don't know who else got let go. We don't know if it's, like, contract QA, you know, something like that. Like, that, but, like, I don't think it's, you know, time to rend your garments and, you know, go jump into a lake of lava. I think if it comes out that it's like we're losing major developers, that would be scary, because, like, that's the thing that's, like, because fundamentally they're making a game, right? Like, if the game is really, really good, the community will follow.
Yeah.
Right?
And
the community, like, you know, as much
even
as
then, if the game
much,
is really good, the community will manage itself as well.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, not necessarily to manage itself well. I mean, like, you know, it will exist, right? Like, you know, not to diminish the work of the community team. Like, obviously, love them, great things. You know, it's better to have a community team than not. But, like, if it really comes down to it, like, if the game is good enough, you can have some form of community without having it be a managed community. That said, if we start losing developers, then it's like, you know, it's like we're driving the car and the car's running out of gas, so we're throwing all the gas out of the car to cut weight. It's like, that's just self-defeating. Like, if you're cutting down the number of developers, things don't get done quickly. Like, that kills your future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something that we kind of said in our private Slack channel for GG Unleashed. You know, when you're when you're trying to run a ship and you've got no income, like, it's going to be a tight crew. You know, you have to get rid of what's expendable, and you have to really, really work out and get in a good position before we can really start rehiring things. Because right now we have, we don't know if there's any kind of store being implemented anytime soon.
Yeah.
We can hope that there is. We've had some skin releases.
I'm sure
and
Nanoman's
then,
on something like that.
Yeah,
you know,
and then,
has to
like,
be.
data miners brought up a founders pack some time ago.
Which
but other
just
than that,
links
like,
to the fact that there's going to be a store.
yeah, we really don't know exactly how the whole monetization thing's going to happen. If it does happen and it goes over well and things are priced pretty decently, you know, there's going to be some
Then that's
income.
the thing,
I know
like,
that. I know that there are plenty of people out there that will absolutely buy the shit out of some of these some of these skins.
Not even just the skins. A founders pack is probably going to be the most popular thing, because we see it all the time in the Reddit. We see it all the time all over the place. Hey, I'd really like to get one of them beta keys. Does anybody around here have one of them beta keys? I have some money. Do you have a beta key? You know, we see it all the time on the Reddit. It is not an unpopular thing that's happening. It's not a small, rare thing. People want the game. People want to buy the game. And that alone means that once we do have a Founders Pack and a store and whatnot, people are going to buy the game. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as the game holds up at that point and, like, people are still excited about it, I think we'll be fine. And, like, I don't know, I think it's hard for people to hear, and it's especially hard for people like us where we're in the community, like we're kind of invested in the community, staying alive and moving on. Like, I think we're seeing a moment where it's just like we're going to accept that the community is going to contract, and, you know, I mean, die is a bad word, but, like, we're going to lose people. We're going to shed a lot of hype probably over the next couple months, because I don't think we're going to see much.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're going to have like weeks at a time where there's no patch, no improvement, no major changes.
I think what we're only going to really see is a growth within the small competitive groups, and that's going to be about it. Because, I mean, this upcoming week, instead of Guardians Arena, we have the tournament from Guardians Arena that's happening. And maybe we have one of those once a month, and the week-to-week things, we get new teams that are showing up better. And yeah, maybe the first tournament we have somebody like Synergy or Warp, or, you know, quote-unquote Warpath, you know, wins the tournament. But then the next week we have freaking, like, Ampersand or 84 wins the tournament, and we're just like, wait, what? Like, you know, maybe that happens. You know, we don't know. So that sort of stuff will be happening. That sort of stuff will be cool, and it'll be a small little kind of a way to kind of stem the tide over the time. But
yeah, and that kind of ties in with the whole claim we made earlier about the community that'll organize itself.
Or
this whole
hype
Guardians
itself.
Arena. we've said this before. This whole Guardians Arena thing is run by the community, just community people that want to be competitive and see the future of competitive gaming with Gigantic. You know, like that says a lot that people are willing just to do that much. I really don't think that this is going to die anytime soon. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
There's a bigger focus on the development. Like, the development of the game needs to improve. And
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with what Perry said about incoming patches and stuff. I think, honestly, we're going to see a bit more of that coming soon. Because we're going to... I don't know, like... I feel like the game's in this constant flux of people saying that some things are strong and some things are weak, and I wish some things would be different. You know, like, this is me quoting people. Like, I wish some things would be different. I wish power generated differently. I wish creatures were, you know, like, there's a lot of stuff that people discuss, and I see it a lot happening on the forums and sometimes even on Reddit. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of changes that may or may not happen anytime soon. So, you know, we could see a different kind of development of the game instead of just community-based stuff like skins and monetization and party and chat and stuff.
Yeah, I think we're in a position where, I mean, I don't know. We can only speculate on what the game's going to look like here going forward, but I think it is going to go a little bit dark and a little bit, you know, just kind of, we're going to go deep. Like, the game is going to have to really build itself back up again to the level that it was at PAX East last year with, you know, changes to core mechanics. We're going to see, you know, balance has gotten better since then. Maps have gotten better since then. Like, the polish is happening. But, I think Gigantic is in a weird place. Like, because, like you were saying earlier, like, people are, you know, compared to, like, oh my god, Overwatch is coming out and it looks so good and it runs so well and blah, blah, blah. But, like... And
Overwatch is near complete.
Yeah,
That's
like, it's a different strategy. Like, Blizzard is the kind of studio that goes dark on a game
all
and, like,
the
shows
way up
nothing.
until like a month or two before it's, you know, ready to release, and then they're like, yeah, here you go, here's the game. You know, that's one thing that's been, like you said, you know, people are comparing it to Overwatch, but it's nothing like that. You know, Overwatch is a near completed game. Gigantic is a glorified demo. That's what it is. It's a glorified demo. And so it's not going to be in a sense of completion like that. I mean, it's less complete than Paladins is. You know, Paladins, I mean, some of the game, like, itself, the mechanics in there are kind of wonky and aren't all there, but at the very least, they've got a chat system, they've got a party system, they've got those things.
I mean, they're running tournaments with actual, like, even in the bit that Gigantic is excelling, which is, like, you know, Rematch is running tournaments, people are running tournaments, Guardian Arena happens, like, there are actual, like, as far as I know, 4 money tournaments in Paladins, and it's been out of beta, like, a week and a half.
I know people, like, in the Gigantic community that moved over to play in the Paladins tournaments. Like, people like Superior and Kirby moved over to play in Paladins because tournaments were happening. So,
yeah,
you know, that's what happens, you know? I mean, they're already in a better status than we are, but they're also AAA title studios.
Well,
high res, I mean, maybe a little bit less. But Blizzard.
Blizzard is Blizzard. Like, they're their own strange beast. I don't know. I think it's one of those, like, in retrospect, I feel like Gigantic was premature out of the gate in many, many ways. And like, I think the premature out of the gate, like, to, you know, not to beat a dead horse, but I think a lot of this is Microsoft. Like, a lot of this is because it's unequivocal that they were planning a fall release. Like, the game would be out, like, was on schedule to be out by now.
Yeah.
Before they made that deal, and now we're talking 2016. And, like, separate from whether or not this is going to make the game better, and I think it will. Like, I think we're going to come out of this potentially with a really good game. But the hype machine was building for a fall release, and they can't keep that up anymore. And, like, this isn't like, the ebbs and flows of the cycle. Like, this isn't, you know, like, it's one thing to say, like, oh, you know, hype rises and falls and rises and falls. But, like, at some point, the rises and falls of the cycle are different when they were building a cycle to end on X date, and now it's ending on, like, X plus a year.
Yeah. And, you know, you can very easily go ahead and say, yeah, no, something with the publishing deal, or not publishing deal, it's the partnership deal that happened with Microsoft, you know, slowed the development cycle. I don't think there's going to be too many people within the community that are going to argue that point, you know. And the thing with that is, even if it was the case, even if that is the case, I'm more than happy to go with the devil we have for now. Because maybe it did cause all this issue. Maybe it did. But we have to think of the future. This is the devil we've got. We have to deal with it. And it's also going to be the devil that makes sure we can even extend for this long. We're getting into the next fiscal year. They're going to probably renew a contract with Microsoft. They're going to get more money for this next fiscal year.
It's not a yearly. There's almost no way that's a yearly contract.
I mean, it's possible, but they may be able to, work with the thing and say, hey, look, because of X, we have to extend this long amount of time. Can we get more funding to make sure it happens?
I think it's pretty clear they're not getting more money from Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean...
Because we just saw 16 people laid off.
Yeah, but...
It's pretty clear that is not happening.
I mean, that goes back into, of course, the reasons why they were laid off, and really the only definitive thing to say is because we don't have a product shipping yet, and we have all these people that are there to ship the product, so there's that. And so why would they keep them around? Even if they were getting more funding, why would they keep that around? That's basically just excess fat. So, ignoring that fact, though, if they do, have that, they do have that leeway with Microsoft to say, hey, look, if what you're saying is true, if because you guys did, have slowed us down, can we get more? Can we get more out of this? You screwed us over. Can we get a little compensation for that? And that's one thing, but
they shouldn't word it like that. But yeah, you're
pretty
right.
Much. But realistically, though, like we were saying before, Microsoft was probably one of the reasons why they had that showing at a lot of those places, and also is probably a large amount of the reasons why they were able to develop for this long anyway. Honestly, if they hadn't gotten the Microsoft deal, and they had a harder time of funding themselves than they had, then where did our call go? There goes our call, guys.
Whoops.
Don't mind that. I'm going to keep on talking while we try and deal with these video issues. But, if we hadn't had all of the, the funding that had gone along with Microsoft, then it's entirely possible that we wouldn't... Okay, no. Group video is unavailable. Interesting. Skype is dying on us, guys.
Skype just died. Oh, well.
Cool.
I don't know what just happened. I can try to recall you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, keep trying with the recall, but at the same time, I'm just going to keep on going ahead and doing my thing. If we didn't have this deal, we probably wouldn't have been able to live for this long and get to where we are right now. We would have probably been, needed to release at an earlier date. We would have needed to get to this point where it was like, okay, boom, now we have to release.
I think the weird thing is that it kind of becomes a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because, I'm willing to accept that, they needed the money to go to all of these things. And, all of those things would have been good if the game had released by now. The problem is, now we have an EU community, and now we have a massive competitive scene. But we're firing the people that are running streaming and the people that are running the competitive scene. So, and kind of shutting down both of those potentially for the foreseeable future, which it kind of becomes a we used all that money to build hype, and then now all the hype is going to have to disappear because we can't release the game on time anymore. So it's I don't know, it seems like it kind of ended up in a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah, it is definitely a bit of a catch-22.
Shmoo, I don't think you're in the call with us.
Yeah, if you leave and rejoin, I think we're good.
Yeah, I turned off the Skype 100% because it was causing that kind of issue. It's kill it with fire.
Whatever, it's an audio cast.
It is.
Yeah,
an audio cast.
I mean that's very true. But I feel like I want to say stuff, but I don't really know how to word it properly. It's just.
Call me again, by the way.
Okay.
I got it. You go ahead.
Okay. I want to see the game. I don't want people to get discouraged that the game's not going to continue. That's my main problem right now is that people are going to get discouraged because of these layoffs. People are going to think that we're going back into that whole Dawngate scenario. Oh, there's no funding. There's no future. we that's I don't think that's going to happen at all, and I don't want people to think that that's going to happen. So hopefully that won't be the case.
Yeah, and that's
But there's
that's
not
one
really
thing.
any way of knowing right
You
now.
know, that's one thing else to say is a lot of people are worried that, oh, the game's going to go the way of Dawngate. But here's the thing. Dawngate was a much different scenario than what's going on, right? It is a much different scenario. Where with Dawngate, we had to worry about publishing from, there we go, hold up, boom. We had to worry about publishing
Mute
coming
yourself.
from, people like, money coming from EA. That was one of the big issues with the old deal with Microsoft, or with Dawngate was, is that we had to worry about EA. And they were, looking to gain money for themselves. Not anything else. They were looking to gain money. And so, with that being the case, they didn't see the money that they wanted coming in, and so said, you know what, screw you, we're ending the game development. Done. And so, that being the case, they had the power to shut down the game. Microsoft doesn't have that power. At all.
Please, dear God, mute your Skype.
Shut up. You don't need me. Oh, man.
God,
we
it's like
go.
we're broadcasting you from like the other end of the cathedral.
Yeah, it is. That's great. With EA, they wanted their own money. They didn't see their money, so they shut down the game.
Yeah.
But Microsoft doesn't have that power. They don't have the ability to say, you know what, screw you guys. We're shutting down your game. If they do say that, all they can say is, you know what, we're not seeing this deal going the way we want. We're ending our deal. Okay, Chris Chung, go get us some more money. We don't have to do Windows 10 exclusivity anymore.
That is not the case. If Microsoft backs out of this, we are still just as screwed.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: we've sunk 6 months into Xbox compatibility. We've overhauled all the backend systems, clearly, because that's why we're still in this place we are now.
Yeah, that's
Essentially, if Microsoft backs out now, we're losing a year's worth of development.
Yeah. Pretty much.
If that doesn't, this kills the game.
Entirely
Period.
possible. Entirely possible.
But
I mean,
at the same time, though, we have to remember that Motiga is their own dependent indie studio. Dawngate and Waystone Games, they were published by EA.
they were pretty much
Motiga-
owned by EA, much in the same way Maxis was. Or is.
Motiga publishes itself and then has a partnership with Microsoft. Yeah, if Microsoft leaves, that's going to be a huge cut of everything, and that'll suck. It'll suck a lot of suck. But
Yeah. And,
at the same time, it's something that they can grow off. It's something that I honestly think that they can grow out of if it were to ever happen. We've got a whole they don't have the power just to completely shut down everything. If the game is going to shut down, and heaven forbid that ever happen, it's going to be completely on Microsoft. It's going to be completely on Motiga's call. I honestly 100% believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. There's a difference between having the actual power to kill the game, which is what happened with Dawngate, and having the power to cripple the game to an extent that it will no longer exist. Now, that being said, I don't if any sane person looked at this contract, there's some sort of language that's going to prevent Microsoft from doing that.
Yeah, well, and that kind of goes back to, what we had been told by Chris Chung at PAX East. The coaches were told, hey, look, just because we are partnered with them doesn't mean they have creative influence in the game's development. The only creative influence they have in the game's development is we're doing it for Windows 10 exclusivity with cross-platform to Xbox One. Which does mean, obviously, yeah, like you said, tons of back-end systems have to be redone, we have to make Xbox compatibility in there, and that's about it. Yeah, we have to wait for, Xbox updates for Xbox updates. Yeah, we have to wait for, Universal Windows application things to happen. That's there. But they still can't come to us and say, yeah, no, we don't like the Guardians being there, get rid of them. They can't do that, and that's the big deal. And they can't say, we're shutting you guys down. They can't do that. They can end their contract, they can end their deal, which will be a significant hit, but they can't shut down the game. They can't stop game systems.
Yeah, I mean, I think but I mean, that's such a far-flung thing. Like, I don't like glorifying that with consideration. Like, I think we're in a situation where Microsoft has nothing to lose with staying around for this. Like, Motiga would literally have to go down in flames.
Pretty much.
Before it makes financial sense for them to back out of this. Because they've got some costs too. Like, they dumped however many millions of dollars into developing this. At this point, they want to get something out of it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they're just as invested in this as we are and as Motiga is. That said, it's going to be a weird couple months. Like, yeah. I think the future is weird. The future is unknowable.
So,
if you see something, say nothing and drink to forget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That being said, though, we have to think about the future. We have to think about what can be done to start making this game revenue positive and start making this game the hype we want it. We've kind of talked about it a little bit about it before, what we wanted to see happen, let's do away with the Streamers Initiative entirely.
Yes.
Get rid of it. Go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and when we do full NDA drop, we're going to completely shut down streaming for now until this point. You can't stream any video footage of it. Can't do any of that. You can talk about the game. Okay, fine. We already let that cat out of the bag. We can't put it back in. But you can't stream until X point. X point is going to be we have a shop system. We have party systems. We have all of that. You can buy the game. You can buy a Founders Pack. When that happens, let's give the game to Lyric. Let's give the game to large streamers with massive audiences, much in the same way Overwatch did. Let's give it to them, and let them market the game for us.
Honestly, I think we're in a position where the 100% only thing I need to see out of Motiga here to be happy is I want to see them be explicit about things.
Okay.
I want to, I want to feel like they have an understanding of what's going on. I want to feel like there is someone that is making definitive decisions instead of just kind of durdling.
Yeah, so
because
this
this feels
want is more of an open, stream of communication between Motiga and the public.
No, I don't even want an open stream of notification. Like, I have that ship has sailed. I have given up on that happening. What I want is honestly, I want somebody to come out this week and be like, bad stuff, sorry guys, things aren't working out. We had to let Thor go. Streamers Initiative is canceled. No one's going to be streaming this game for the foreseeable future. NDA is what it is. But no one's going to be streaming this until, we tell you otherwise. Nothing's going to happen. Public beta tests are going to be might be few and far between. Like, we're sorry, but this is how it's going to have to be if we're going to fix the game. We're going to prioritize on fixing the game. And, we're going dark until the game works. That's what I want to see. I am so far past, caring about the periphery of this game. I want them to just, buckle down, do whatever you have to, as much as I love them, kill the community, keep your 20 best testers, and buckle down and finish this. Even if that means cutting me out of the community, I don't care. Just buckle down, finish the game, and so that, when I wake up in March, there's a game that I want to play.
Yeah.
As opposed to this, where I get to spend, every week being like, oh, right, I have plans Friday night, and I'm doing Bull Rush on Saturday afternoon, and then, I have to go buy groceries, so I guess I'll get to play 1 hour of Gigantic this weekend, on the off chance they happen to be open for beta testing this weekend.
Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it's, but the thing is, this isn't you guys' fault. This isn't my fault. The game is not ready for prime time. The game,
it's
absolutely
not. We've said this many, many times before. This is a
we've said it many times before in this cast.
This is a glorified demo game. This is as much as Motiga will say that it is a closed beta, we know that it is not in beta status right now. We know that this is far, far from released and being completely polished.
Yeah.
There are core game mechanics that are still being worked on. That is alpha, my friend. That is pure alpha status right there. But that's what people have to remember. People have to know that this game is something that is still going to be worked on for quite some time, and we just have to really, really buckle down and roll with the punches, both as part of the studio, those that are part of the studio, and us as the community people.
Yeah.
We
And
just really have to take our time
gamma testing. There
and
we
just
go.
like
There we
gamma
go.
testing. We just have to we have to just take it.
And-
We just
Well, like it feels like I constantly, and this is always the best thing to post. Like, I love the little comic strip that's like the dog in the house that's on fire. It's like, this is fine, everything is fine. He's just like drinking coffee as everyone's dying, or like the house is on fire around him. I want Motiga to realize that the house is on fire around them, like batten down all the hatches, and just be like, look, we're sorry. Like, stuff is not going well. We accept that things are not going well, and we're going to act like things are not going well.
Yeah.
As
And-
opposed to just kind of pretending that everything is working.
And even all of the things that, like you had said before, cut your community loose, cut all that stuff left, that doesn't even need to happen. They don't even need
Oh,
to
no.
say any of
I'm
that. Just
not
say,
even saying
you know
that's
what?
a good idea.
No. But just to come out and say, you know what? This happened. We're going to have to buckle down and deal with that. We're going to have to deal with that. And
Yeah, like
I'm fine if they do say, you know what? We're going to have this one playtest a week just to give people the ability to play the game.
Keep Guardians Arena. Keep Guardians
Arena.
That's
keep
fine.
Guardians
It's structured.
Arena, or even do the Saturday tests. Fine. Keep it there. Just the one day a week. Keep the Guardians Arena and focus on developing the game within that playtest. Obviously there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be able to play. Like you said, you've got other commitments. You've got other things you need to do. Everyone does. Everyone has a life. This is a game. This is something we do in our free time. But this is their business, and they're going to have to buckle down and deal with that. So, yeah, I'll agree. I 100% agree with Norbot. They do need to, however, come out and say this. They need to say, we have a roadmap. No, they don't even need to say what that roadmap is. They have to say, we have a roadmap. We know things are going wrong now, but we know what we're going to do within ourselves to fix them. That's all that needs to come out.
Really, my thing is, we keep... I think it does them more harm than good, honestly. Because what we keep seeing is everything's fine. We're still going to do Clash Course. We're going to do, go to these events. We're going to do stuff, and then it's 16 people are fired today. And, that's why everyone freaks out, is it's everything's sunshine and roses, and everyone's happy, and we're going to come out with a game soon. And it's everything is awful. We're very sorry. It's no, if you were honest, and upfront about this, going forward, you don't just come in on Monday and be we're firing people on Tuesday. I'm sorry, no, this has been in the works for a while, and sure, I can understand not being hey guys, we're gonna have to fire people next month, but at least be hey, stuff's degraded. We had to take a month off of testing. We're sorry. The release date is probably going to slip. Don't pile up all of your bad news for one big bad news dump. That's what kills morale. That's what kills morale, is everything is fine, all of the bad news has happened today.
Yeah, it's like you go to a girlfriend's house, or you go on a first date with somebody, and you walk into their house, and you're like, why do you have that in the corner of your room? First date was great, wonderful time at the restaurant, you go to their house, and you're like, why do you have a 4-foot-tall doll of an anime character in your room? But yeah, okay.
This is the weirdest metaphor.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's not okay.
Yeah, but you get my point, though. Everything's great, and then one bad thing's happening, but they're refusing to talk about it. There's an elephant in the room. Talk about it. Tell us, but Tim is saying in there, it's one bit of bad news has come out, let's think about it logically, but that's kind of what we're saying, hey, look, one bit of bad news came out. Address it. Tell the community what's going on. Give us a plan for your, don't even give us a plan for your future. Just say you have a plan for the future.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, and they did. To not to leave this out, they did very clearly say, look, we've got a plan, we've got a roadmap, we're planning on a release next year, we're going to talk to you about this here coming soon. And if by the end of December we hear something from them that's hey, here's where we're going, here's the roadmap, here's what it kind of looks like, even in vague terms, then I'm going to be very satisfied. I'm going to be totally happy with how this is going.
Just like you said at the very beginning, your entire thesis of it, just to say that there is someone in control who is saying, boom, this, done.
Yep.
Put
It's
out.
just it would be good just to have some
line of internal communication.
It's just to have reassurance that they're actually doing it.
Like a little bit of community.
We can assume that they're doing it, and most likely we can say that they're probably doing it. But it would be good for the rest of the community to know, to completely have 100% certainty that yes, Motiga is working to fix what has happened. That's what we're trying to look at.
But to say
just
that
let everyone
happened,
know
we're
that
going to keep going
happened.
on. Keep calm, carry on. Basically, just deal.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of that is like I think the issue is we've been in this boat where like we everyone has kind of had this passive understanding that we were slipping the release date. The hype is dying, and like things are going to be slow going forward. But I think the fact is just like they've never admitted it. No one's ever admitted that things were slowing down, really.
That was the thing, and that's where a lot of the conversation within the community happened. The posts on Reddit saying, "Is this game going to NDA itself away?" was the title of one of those Reddit posts. Another one is, "The game going to go the way of Dawngate?" is another title. GaiaX made a video on it. It's that same, like you're saying, there were people saying, "Hey, look, development's not really going forward too much. We were expecting something by now, but it never happened." People hyped it, they hyped it up a lot, but they never said, "Hey, look, things are slowing down." And really, that's all they had to say. They could have avoided this whole conversation within the community if they had just said, "Hey, look, things are slowing down because of things we can't control, but we're dealing with it. There may be rough waters ahead, but we're going to take the punches as we can," And that's all they had to say, and that's all they still have to say. If they come out and say, "Hey, look, rough waters, we're in rough waters now. Things are going to be slow for a while, but don't worry, we're still here, we're still working our hardest." That's all they have to say. And they don't even owe us anything more beyond that. And I think that alone, that sense of entitlement, as, Tim was saying, they don't owe us anything, that's true. That sense of entitlement is also a little bit of an issue.
So here's the thing. There's a difference between we are entitled to have an explanation and an explanation would do them good.
Yeah.
They don't owe us shit. They don't owe us making a game. They could tell us all to go screw ourselves and we've been wasting our time for a year and a half now. But that doesn't make it a good idea. I understand the people are in this community are entitled and people are complaining about things that they shouldn't be complaining about, but it's I think it's easy to draw a line between it's easy to just be anyone asking for things is being entitled. And sure, I think Motiga could be we told you we're working on it, we told you you've got a deadline next year, that's gonna happen. But I think when we're talking about you've slipped the last 3 deadlines, I think it becomes the more you've had to just kind of let things slip without talking about it, the more people become suspicious. And I'm still going to be here. We're still probably going to keep doing this show for a while, but we do need to I think it's one of those, the longer this drags out, the more I think there is an onus on Motiga to console the community and be yeah, things are bad. Things are still bad, and we're going to work on it.
God damn it, Eagle. At least they don't owe me a keyboard.
Okay, so but with all that kind of being said, and let's simmer down a little bit. I think what we really need to talk about is what do we as the community need to do to keep the game running and to keep everyone together.
And I mean, being totally honest here, we're not the herald of the community. We are not the voice of the community. We never tried to be what we, going back to our mission statement, Bull Rush is guys that are a part of the community, just saying what we feel. We are by the community, for the community. Mm-hmm. So, as a member of the community, what do I want? What do I want to see going into the future? We've said it. We want a little bit of, I want a little bit of hand-holding here. I want to make sure, and it's not much, just say, what, calm down, hand on the shoulder, say, what, we're here, we've got problems, but we're working on them. It's going to slow down for a little bit, but that's how it's going to have to go. That's what we want. And what do we as a community need to do to, get past these issues? And realistically speaking, we all need to, sit down, head over to Winchester for a pint, and wait for it all to blow over. That's all I need. Just wait for it. Be patient with everything.
We just need to breathe. That's what we need to do. We just need to breathe. Take a deep breath and sit and think and just be like, okay, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is also coming, from people who, have a little bit of a stake in the, in the success of the community and the success of the game. A lot of people have a stake in that because there's that mentality of, hey, look, I was here first. We came in. We were here, we were putting up our stuff, so that means we're going to be in a good spot. I mean, look at people within League of Legends. Spazzy was there since the freaking beta, and look where he's at now. It's the same idea. People want to be the Spazzy of Gigantic, or they want to be somebody. So there's a large amount of people who are clamoring for, what's going to happen? Oh my god, the game's dying, because they feel like their investment, and it could be even less than, I'm creating content. It's just their investment of time, their investment of their emotion and their dedication to the community is almost being invalidated. But here's the thing. Just because, that's, things are happening where we're going to have to slow down for a while doesn't mean your time has been wasted. It doesn't mean that what you've gotten out of the game has been diminished. This show wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met Perry if it hadn't been for Gigantic. And that's a great friendship, that I have now. I wouldn't have met so many people that are in the competitive community that are in the community at all if it wasn't for, Gigantic. So my time has been validated already.
Yeah,
and if the game tomorrow, if they came out tomorrow and said, you know what, we're going to stop all testing completely and we're not going to be talking to anybody for the next 6 months, I'm going to be disappointed, to be sure. But then I'm going to mark my calendar. I'm going to say, you know what? I'll be back.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's really what I want to see. It's like I want to see them just be like, look, we're not going to be doing streaming. We're not going to be doing public anything until heck, like make it like summer next year. Like, but if you can come back with a game that's I'm going to be that's going to be everything that you promised, that like that's totally fine. I think the big thing is there's a fallacy to saying like we're here because we love the game, therefore we owe them our gratitude and beatification. Like we're here because we love the game, but like you like if you're dating somebody and you love them and like they stop texting you and stop talking to you for like a month and a half and then they're like, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to be able to do anything with you for like a month. I feel like you're on the road to being like, yeah,
you're gonna get hurt because you put too much in.
Yeah, it's like I've invested time in this. Like we've done things like we do this out of the love of the game, and like people beta test this out of the love of the game and because they want to see it grow into something. But it's a partnership. Like this is a partnership. Like
it's something that you put in the time to do, and then you want something in return. It's just like it should be an equivalent symbiotic relationship. One of those things where it's we're spending all this time, we're making this show because we want to. They're making the game because they want to. But it's those things that we need to they need to cross and mesh together and just be like, hey, we explain things to each other. We grow off of each other. And sometimes like in the recent times, sometimes it doesn't really feel like that's been the case. Of course things are exploding over there, obviously. We've said it many times now. But it's just it's like I said before, it's just one of those reassurance things. We just want to know. We just want to be sure that people are still there to come in and hold our hand and be like, hey, everything's going to be fine. We just need to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, really.
And this is especially, I feel like this is especially important because we're losing community people.
Yeah.
Because the layoffs all, like, when you think about it, community at Gigantic is like 6 people, and we lost 2 of them. Yeah. Like, we lost a third of the community reps from
And-
Motiga, and that's scary. Like, that as a community member is scary to me.
There goes Skype again.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, whatever. You know, realistically, like you're saying, you know, we lost community people. We lost that sense, and we need to go ahead and say, you know what? These are problems, things we need to deal with, and as a community, we need to say, we're going to expect whatever happens. We're going to have to deal with whatever happens. But we can't burn the bridge. We can't say, oh, what, you know what? They just lost all these people. You know what? Screw it. I'm leaving. Done. Bye. You know, or say, oh my god, I just lost all of this, or oh my god, you know, this, that, and the other thing happened. But, you know, at this point in the game, it's just too much to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm done. It's too much to say, this is your fault, or it's too much for people to start clamoring to say, oh my god, the game's gonna die.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we need to say. You know, that's what needs to happen. Where we calm down, let things happen, and we move on with our lives.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know. It's a very it's a weird place to be. Like, you know, there are a lot of. I feel like I just keep saying it's weird, but like Gigantic has been a weird game to be involved with, and I don't feel like there's been a lot of games that have gone through this cycle. You know, like games being delayed is somewhat normal in the gaming community these days, but like most of them aren't multiplayer games. Like it's actually pretty rare that we see like a multiplayer game go
delayed.
like because I mean we'll see stuff now and then where it's like it gets kicked back 6 months because they wanted to make wanted to polish it up and whatever, and like you're willing to write that off because it's a single player game and it's like, well, okay, like it's a shame I'm gonna have to wait a year to play it. Like, you know, like I think about like GTA 5 came out on consoles, it was like a year later before it came out on PC, but it's like, but it's all gonna be worth it when it comes out, and I think we need to have that attitude going into this, which is like, they're doing this, they're cutting the things they have to cut, they're doing the things they have to do to make sure that when we get around to playing this game, it's going to be everything we want out of it.
Yeah, and you know, time is going to have to be taken. We're going to have to sit down, we're going to have to calm down, we're going to have to wait.
Yep.
That's about it.
That's going to be
And-
my closing statement right here. We just need to
We just need to
put our
wait.
hands
We need
up.
to be patient, you know? Say, you know what?
We need
Nothing we can do.
Put our hands
Things
up.
are happening, but, you know,
Really breathe.
I have never been one to go ahead and say, you know what, I don't trust Motiga anymore. I have never been one to say that, and I don't say that about any development studio. There are very few development studios where I'll ever say, you know what, screw these guys. I will never say that.
I don't trust Firaxis anymore, but I've been burned too many times.
Yeah, but like when it comes to Motiga, I'm more than willing to trust the fact that these guys know a little bit about what they're doing. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm more than willing to give them the chance that they need in this case, and that I feel they do deserve, you know, off of how much they've been trying to do with us in the past. And they may have stepped on, you know, they may have stepped on the bullet there. They may have bitten off more than they could chew with trying to help us. But, you know what? They've given us more than enough times to be helped. I think it's time for us to go ahead and say, you know what? They deserve that chance. And that, I believe, is also going to do it for us this week. It's a very interesting situation, and it's going to be even more interesting to see how it evolves. We're going to go ahead and see you guys next week with our next great show. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you guys so much for being out here, and hopefully I continue to see a lot of you guys in the community. Last week we did have the issue of it not wanting to be up on YouTube. I do believe maybe a little bit of that was because we went over by so much last week.
No, Twitch was just having issues.
That too.
Everyone I know was having problems with that.
Yeah, but we're going to go ahead and try and put this up on YouTube for those people who want to see it. Next week we'll have drinks. Exactly, Tim. That's exactly how it works. He's got drinks right there. Yep.
We always have drinks.
Yeah, we always have drinks.
every
I'll have
time.
alcoholic drinks, okay? Heck, we may even do drunk stream. And if it
Oh,
comes to
that'll
the
happen.
point, yeah, and if it comes to the
me.
point where we no longer
I'll
have
be-
any topics to talk about, screw it. We'll just play games on stream. I don't care. Bull Rush game stream, and we'll get back to our regularly scheduled content as soon as there's some to avail to you guys. But
Wait, we're
thank
giving
you-
drinks to the community?
Oh man, I'm getting in line. Tim's buying drinks.
Dude,
Yeah.
Tim's buying drinks.
Drinks on
Drinks on Tim. There we go. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we are going to see you guys next time.